I can't think of a better topic to start the video with than one of the oldest on the list that everyone thought was a cold case. It's a search that's been going on for many years at this point, and while the search is still technically not concluded, this was a huge update to the search and a very important find for the community in general. This topic is called Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret, and refers to a video that was uploaded to YouTube back in the late 2000s that detailed how to unlock Luigi in the game. However, there actually is no way to unlock Luigi in the game, so at the end when the secret is revealed, the zombie car screamer video is played and scares the viewer. While this in itself might not seem that significant to the hundreds of other internet lost media topics out there, its history is what drew people into the search. Apparently, back when this was first uploaded and in the years that followed, the video became very popular, having gained 700,000 views and stuck in the minds of the people who watched it. It was very well remembered. The only problem is that at some point in late 2012, the original video was deleted from the channel it was uploaded to, and that video has been missing ever since. Nobody can find a copy of this famous video, so the search began, and there were many recollections online of the video, different ideas for where to look, and of course, the beginning of the On the Hunt channel in the Lost Media Wiki Discord server. Unfortunately though, through a lot of contacting and searching on old websites, the conclusion was reached that there simply is no uploaded copy currently available online, and the original creator even confirmed he didn't have the video anymore. This resulted in the search being labeled a cold case for 4 years. The only clip we were ever able to recover was from a reaction video, which has some segments that could be seen far off in the distance. Until now. 4 years after the search slowed down, user Marvel and Syndexmon were able to locate a new user on YouTube with a playlist containing another reaction video to Big Star Secret, dated to around the time of when the original video was still up. The only problem is that the playlist containing the video was almost entirely private, and the owner of this channel, after being contacted, did not have the logins to their account. There was also some debate about whether or not this content would be released at all, considering the video contained clips of the user and their friends as kids, which they did not want to release. The question then became if the account could be accessed at all, or if any portion of the Big Star Secret video could be edited and released for us. Marvel was keeping me updated with this process, and the thread in the Lost Media Wiki forums was active with updates too. Syndexmon had apparently been in contact with this user more extensively than I had thought at the time, and eventually the unbelievable happened. The owner of this channel was able to recover the video and edit it accordingly so that it could be shared, and right there was new footage of Big Star Secret. These were portions of the original video we didn't have yet, with the total length of this clip being around 40 seconds long. While it might not seem like that much of a find, the process of getting this in the first place is incredible, and it really goes to show you just what you're dealing with when searching for a topic like this. It's been a very difficult search since nearly the beginning, and anything like this that shows up gets us closer to finding the full video. Considering how widely remembered the video was, and even just the fact that we found 2 reaction videos to it so far, we still believe there's a chance someone out there could have a full copy saved and doesn't even know it's lost. This next topic is one that I'm surprised took so long to be found in its entirety, though I think that was partially because nobody actually knew or realized it was lost in the first place. I had heard about this one for years, but never viewed it through the lens of lost media, until rumblings made the rounds that we were missing content from one of the earliest relics of SpongeBob's history that has ever existed. This topic is none other than the Intertitle Zone, an educational comic book created by Steven Hillenburg, which acted as the foundation for SpongeBob as we know him today. For years, if you had searched up this comic online, it wasn't actually entirely lost, as there were plenty of wiki articles and some images of the comic itself. We had the title page and some other print media that discussed it, and of course, the pages featuring Bob the Sponge, a fan favorite when it comes to characters seen in the book. But if you just looked at this content, you'd find that a lot more is missing, and the screenshots don't really link together. And that's because whatever source they originally came from did not release the whole book online. This is particularly interesting for the fact that you can find some other pre-SpongeBob works by Steven online, like his 2 student films, which have been on YouTube for years. According to the Lost Media Wiki article, the book received no interest from publishers at the time, so it never had a large print run, and could be the reason why copies are so hard to find. So if you happen to go searching for this book yourself, you might have come across a thread from the Lost Media Wiki forums dated as far back as 2021, mentioning that the whole book remains lost. It wouldn't be until 2024 when an update was made showing a copy had been found. This came from storyboard artist Chris, who stated they recently received the book as a birthday gift from their friend, which led them to realize it's a piece of lost media, and plan to scan it online and make it available to everyone. Not long after that, the whole book was indeed uploaded and became available to the public for the first time. It was such a nice and coincidental find. I'm glad Chris was able to get it up not only as quickly as they did, but also without any questions asked. I'm not sure how many people out there even have copies of this, or if we would have been able to find someone back then that did. But it's kinda nice that we didn't have to go out of our way to either buy a copy off of someone or convince an older owner to upload it. It simply showed up when we least expected it, realized it was lost, and got to enjoy the whole book for the first time. I feel like it's been a really long time since we've talked about a lost pilot getting found, and this one I'm pretty glad to see resurface. While it wasn't necessarily one that a lot of people were searching for, it was something that we talked about in another video, and did have a dedicated fan base surrounding it. This one is the second Uncle Gus pilot called Not So Fast, that was shrouded in a little more mystery than the first one. For those unfamiliar with this series, Uncle Gus was a cartoon that was pitched to Cartoon Network during 2000 and 2001, which had its pilots aired on TV periodically within those years. The first one, which was previously lost but found last year, was called For the Love of Monkeys, and aired many times throughout 2000 on Cartoon Fridays, The Big Pick Weekend, and a couple other special events. However, the show was not picked up at that time, and instead, a second pilot was made a year later, called Not So Fast, and was basically the show's second chance at getting picked up. This one was apparently only aired once on Cartoon Fridays in November 2001, and could be the reason for why it was so rare. It doesn't seem like there is any evidence indicating that it aired more than once, but there were so few people who even knew about this pilot, it wasn't surprising that nobody had come across a copy yet. Unfortunately, it was another one of those topics that would only be found on VHS tape, not only because of how easy that would theoretically be, but also because the creator, Lincoln Peirce, is impossible to reach, so we couldn't ask him about it at all. I saw some discussion in the forums about the topic, and a couple people were really dedicated, which is partially what got it found. In May 2024, user Jimmy Sprawl uploaded a full copy of the pilot after confirming it was recorded on a VHS tape from the day it premiered. It was really insane that someone who had recorded it back in 2001 not only still had the recording, but happened to be informed that it was lost and proceeded to upload it. It's this kind of find that can act as an example for other topics like Big Star Secret and even Slamfest 99, that you never know when lost media will show up or who could have it. It's also the dedication of the users who kept an eye out for this kind of thing and were able to discover a copy was out there in the first place. And as for other Uncle Gus lost media, I believe it's all been found, even the old Cartoon Network Flash games that heavily featured the character despite never getting his own series. The only mystery left for the Uncle Gus series is that rumored third pilot, which has intrigued me more and more with the more often it gets brought up. The Lost Media Wiki article only has a small mention of it, having been sourced from an interview with Lincoln Peirce himself, where he says that he wrote 3 shorts under the Uncle Gus title. We know 2 of them were the found pilots, but the third one is unknown. It's not clear if it only existed as a script or if it was animated, and like I said before, we can't reach Lincoln to ask him. Personally, I would be shocked if a third attempt to get the series off the ground was made, but Acclaim states that a Greek dub of the pilot was available on YouTube. If you ask me, that sounds fake, so I don't think it adds any credibility to the chance that another pilot does exist. The next topic in the video is one that's a little bit of a gray area surrounding its release, but I think it would be disingenuous to not talk about it. It happened, so I'm going to report. This is related to the completely unexpected release of a bunch of never-before-seen and unreleased pilots from Disney's TV animation. There isn't a whole lot of history to this story, as it happened without anyone expecting it, but back in April 2024, close to a dozen pilots from Disney cartoons like Fishhooks, Amphibia, and The Owl House were released online unofficially and without authorization. According to the thread in the Lost Media Wiki forums when this was all going down, the pilots originated from 4chan and were spread all over the internet. Re-uploads, archives, and even entire playlists started showing up containing all of the content. Now, the specific details of these releases are not known, but I've heard rumors that it might have something to do with the way Disney treats their TV animation, and releasing all of these in the way that they were was a sort of middle finger to Disney, though that's entirely speculation. And honestly, even if Disney was the best animation company in the world, anyone with access to these in the first place would probably get the desire to share them anyway, no matter the reason. According to more details in the Lost Media Wiki thread, it seems like the majority of these were taken down only a few days after being posted, and there was a lot of panic in trying to make backups. Checking the original playlist I was sent shows that even more of them have been taken down since their original upload, but I'm not sure if Disney took them down or if the uploader did themselves. I remember even right after hearing about it myself, there were a handful of pilots I couldn't easily find, so I wouldn't be surprised if people ended up getting scared after the initial hype died down and got rid of them before anything else happened. Aside from the fact that these were posted and that it's really cool to see so much behind the scenes content we likely never would have otherwise, it does open the door up to that debate about if leaks are a good or bad thing. No matter how you feel about the ethics behind it, in my opinion, I've always felt that it isn't in the spirit of lost media, kinda like using a cheat code in a video game. While nobody was probably going to search for all of the pilots that showed up, there definitely was already some interest in a few of the ones that were released. And now, copies are just dispersed online. That's just not a very good history for it to have, but it's only one side of the opinion, and someone else could argue that we wouldn't have gotten any of these in the first place without these uploads. Actually, we've searched for topics the right way, like me and my friends, and we were still prevented from getting certain material. So nothing is a guarantee, and it goes back to the idea of how far you'll go to get a piece of lost media released. It's been a while since we've had a kids show piece of lost media show up, so I guess this counts as one of the first bigger ones of the year, or at least one that people had been following along with, which is exactly how it ended up getting found. Last year, in another video, we discussed a series of shorts that aired on Nick Jr. as part of the My World series, called Downward Dogghouse. These are basically the precursor animations to the series Ni Hao Kai Lan, and aired in between commercial breaks along with some other shorts. Strangely, for as recognizable as Ni Hao Kai Lan became, it seemed like this was the only series of the My World shorts that hadn't been re-uploaded to YouTube. I've never found a complete list of all the different shorts that were aired on My World, but from a quick YouTube search at the time, it seemed like Downward Dogghouse were the only ones missing. There was one short available called Dragon Dance, but the other two, Follow That Slipper and Where's Ho Ho, were not available online. And there was no set date or month we could even begin searching for recordings of, since these were aired randomly throughout the broadcast. So it was going to come down to finding them on tapes by accident, more or less. Last year, the second of the three shorts called Follow That Slipper was found on a VHS tape from 2005, and uploaded to YouTube in full. And as of June 2024, the final of the three shorts, Where's Ho Ho, was uploaded to YouTube by GamerGuy624 after being found on a VHS tape by CDCB. Curiously, it was shown during the commercial breaks for Dora's Fairy Tale Adventure, so I wonder if that had anything to do with the choice of airing it at that time. It seems weird that the last two were lost at all, or that copies were hard to find. But it's very nice to see all three collected here, and if they're not already backed up, make sure you grab yourself a copy while you can. This is the kind of topic that you could revisit in another few months, and find that one of the videos was taken down or deleted. As for other Downward Dogghouse lost media, there actually is still some more missing content from the series, as all three shorts did get separate dubs in the UK. Dragon Dance has been found for that one, along with a muted Follow That Slipper, but the audio for that one is still missing, and none of Where's Ho Ho has resurfaced from the UK either. Here's another little update for a search that's been covered in a few videos before, though unlike Downward Dogghouse, these ones are not found in their entirety yet. No, it's not the Foster's Home Who's That promos, which are close to being found. Mac is the only one still missing, though we have no visuals for him yet. Instead, this covers a different foster's home and Ed and Eddie topic called Eddie Eduardo. This was a really cool series of promos that replaced Eddie with Eduardo in clips of the Ed and Eddie episodes. The origin of this topic actually came from around the internet way before it gained any kind of attention in the lost media community, with old recollections from blog sites and wikis that recalled Eduardo making appearances with the Eds, but nobody knew anything besides that. For a while there wasn't even enough information available for us to confirm they actually existed, believing it might have been a fan creation or a false memory completely. But eventually, more evidence came forward to confirm they existed to some extent. But there weren't any visuals, and we weren't sure what the extent of the crossover was or what it even looked like, which was so fascinating to everyone. But eventually this topic did reach the Lost Media Wiki in 2022, where more discussion and awareness was put on them, until the first one showed up in 2023, after a user spotted one of these shorts in an encode of Billy and Mandy. While this one was only a partial upload, it did give us our first visuals and allowed people to get a sense of what to be on the lookout for. And thanks to that, a second Eddie Eduardo short was found, this time in its entirety. In April 2024, user JVNKZ uploaded the short after finding it on an entire recording of Cartoon Network that they had on VHS tape. In this short, Double D and Eduardo talk back and forth about Double D's name, and interestingly, there was even a post in the Lost Media Wiki forums thread from 2 years ago that quotes this new promo exactly. This same comment also mentions one with the Kanker sisters and another of just the intro animation, but only 1.5 have been found, and it's not known how many other ones actually exist. What makes this search so challenging is that we just don't know how often they were aired or when they aired, besides both of these found shorts having been dated 2006, so it might have been a mid-2000s thing only. And finally, we'll end with what is probably the biggest find of the past few months, and maybe the biggest find of the entire year so far. I think that's up for debate depending on who you ask, but without a doubt, this is one of the most defining pieces of lost media for 2024, and it was only found 4 months into the year. This topic feels like one of those that would never be found, sorta similar to the original Jeff the Killer photo or Hitogata, but we can say with 100% certainty that the search for this is over. The Lost Wave song Everyone Knows That, also known as Ulterior Motives, has been found. I'm sure you've probably heard that news at this point, and maybe had even been following the search after it started gaining popularity a couple years ago. But if you haven't or need a refresher, Everyone Knows That was an extremely popular, unidentified song from the Lost Wave community, whose origins and artist were unknown. It was first posted on whatsthatsong.com in October 2021, where user Carl92 asked about its origins, claiming it was dated to the 90s when they had been learning how to capture audio through recording. It wasn't a lot to work with at the time, and for years people had been trying to source the music clip, which only lasted for 17 seconds, leading to a few prominent theories. The most popular and widely discussed of the theories was that the song was used in a TV commercial, and that the commercial itself was very rare, leading to no one having come across it. This was backed up by the fact that the recording emitted a frequency suggesting that it had been recorded from a CRT, adding to its validity, though this theory led to an expanded one about the song itself, and broadened the search to other countries. Some believed that while the commercial may have aired in the US, the actual song was made somewhere else, and its origin was connected to some place like Japan. There were also a lot of unverified claims from users who stated they had heard the song played at certain locations over the years, and even a suggestion that Carl92 was a troll and that the clip was AI. But none of these ideas could really be proven or looked into. Most recently, the song clip had even been played over Canadian radio for the fact that it was highly believed to be of Canadian origin and had been heard in the area before. But the conclusion of this search had nothing to do with any of these old theories or ideas. It came from the most surprising place of all, because one user thought to look there. The ending of the search for Everyone Knows That came about from a theory proposed only a few months before the song was found, suggesting that the song might have come from an adult movie. This actually led to user OneTruth going down the rabbit hole and looking through adult movie scenes on YouTube to see if the song appeared in any of them. And while that one did not, very similar sounding songs did. Christopher and Philip Booth were credited to these songs, whose names also appear in registries for the song Ulterior Motives, a possible connection. Together with user South Pole Ball, The two searched through a series of adult movies that the booths were credited to, a task that One Truth spent 12 hours doing at one point, until eventually they happened to find the right one where the song could be heard in the background. And that was it. Everyone knows that had been sourced. Considering the full song in the movie had other audio placed over it, it's possible that's why the original clip we got was so short, as to leave out those inappropriate sounds. Christopher Booth became aware of the find and released a remastered version in June. It's funny to think that Everyone Knows That was literally found in the last place anyone thought to look for it, and that a song from an adult movie was actually played over Canadian radio for the sake of the search. I'm not sure what else could be found this year to top this one, just for how huge of a topic it was, but with the year only being half over, we have another 6 months to make even more incredible finds. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out some of my other Lost Media videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Finn.